Hey, everybody.
Hey, people.
Man, what a Wednesday we had with this last episode of What If. Um,
What a Wednesday it was. It was another fabulous episode. I can almost imagine that Michael Jackson must be so proud with Thriller with this episode. In fact, I can almost picture the episode with the Thriller music in the background.
agreed. Agreed.
And the way it ended, the Vincent Price laughing.
Ha! That laugh haunts me to this day. All right. Well, let's dive into it. That's my dad.
That's my kid. And we are
Comic and Other Cons. All right. So
what you think, kid? What you think overall?
So I thought this was really sad. I don't know why I'm laughing. Sorry. Sometimes I have like odd responses to like traumatic or shitty things. It was a really sad episode that we watched basically so many of the characters sacrifice themselves, so that others can make it to the end, which I know is a very Avengers thing to do, but that doesn't make it less sad.
Agreed. It was another tragic, no-win ending, similar to what we witnessed in episode 4 with Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
There was just no way to win that, and the way that it ultimately that it ultimately ended up was a real good joke on what we had just seen about, the episode where what if T'Challa was Star-Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who's seen the episode, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
So let's get into it, kid.
Yeah. All right. So the first scene, of the show shows us at basically the end of Ragnarok, beginning of Infinity War, where Hulk, who just got his ass whooped, is being
whooped.
Is being
his big green punk ass. I gotta tell you.
Okay.
The Hulk was a punk ass bitch. I can't believe it. I don't want to hear about, hey, we can't. The Hulk only does one thing: smash.
Right.
And he was supposed to keep going.
Yeah.
But he did shit for a little while, and then Thanos started hitting back, and that's when the Hulk was supposed to get madder and like do some more shit, and instead he kind of bitched out, oh, you break my ankle bracelets, my wristbands and shit. And then the next thing he was all fucking body slammed. So yeah, I was disappointed at the Hulk. I know that's a little off subject, but I was a little disappointed at the Hulk at that. So
oh no, it was a warranted disappointment. So he's being, flown over to Earth via the Rainbow Bridge, which was Heimdall's last act of magic. And as soon as he, crashes down in the Sanctorum in New York City, he's starting to change back to Bruce Banner, and he's in the motions of saying, Thanos is coming, and he realizes his words fall on deaf ears. Literally, there were no ears present.
Well, because he does the thing where he's laying in there and says, hey, anybody got any clothes?
Right.
Because remember, he's naked, so he has to, and the funny part is when we transition from that scene and he goes outside, he's got clothes on from the that he took from the Santorum that right. You would have expected to see Wong or somebody wearing. And he had some of those clothes on because Strange or nobody was around to give him any regular clothes. No blazer this time,
No extra tight pants.
I was gonna say at least he had, wasn't like ball crunches. So
but here's my one thing with that. So he puts on the clothes. What was the purpose of him putting the gloves on? The little hand gloves.
They were probably there.
I'm just saying, at this point now you've taken an extra step because you really just needed a top and a bottom and some shoes. I don't know. So
look, they were fingerless gloves. They're like half your fingers were out. What?
I guess if you needed to text,
you can't have that.
Convenient.
why you see sometimes these movies and the women come out with a nice dress on and you got these gloves on? Because it was there as part of the outfit. I'm sure that the gloves were just sitting there. And
I know, but in Bruce's case, it was almost just kind of like an afterthought. Whereas when women put them on, it's a part of the outfit, and it just seemed weird. But anyway,
but Bruce did what most people would have did, right? When he got dressed, he saw his gloves and he said, and he's like, shit. And there you go. And he could also say, I'm going to the gym, just in case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense in the zombie apocalypse. So he goes outside and he starts realizing that there's no one else there except for the two people who were in what was that group called that was under Thanos?
Black Order.
Thank you. I was gonna say Black Midnight, and that would.
And none of them were black, mind you, but they were the Black Order.
They were all gray.
Actually, when he went outside, there was nobody there, and he thought he got there too late.
Right. No, he got out there. No one was there. But what I'm saying is, then the two.
Yeah, then they showed up. Yep.
Then the two from the Order came.
Those two dumbasses.
Right. So they showed up from the Order, and he was like, oh, you're about to have X, Y, and Z happen. And this is you should be thankful for your death and whatever. The spiel where I feel like bad guys talk too much before they like murder people. Cause I'm like, Now we have time to plan our escape. So then the little portal opens up and Tony sticks his hand out.
But he doesn't see it. The guy's still going through his little speech.
Right.
Talking some shit. That's like when you was a kid and you was like fucking around with something and you didn't realize that your parent was right in back of you, getting ready to fuck you up. But you was steady having a good time with something and then what happened. And that's what happened to poor Ebony Boy. Yeah, he got fucked up.
Right. So so he had all of that happen with getting shot by Tony.
And it was sneaky. It was like he just eased his hand out there.
Right.
And didn't the other guy, didn't anybody notice that big bright backlight that came up behind them? No. So all of a sudden you're over here in a big old light. You're looking this way, but a bright light comes. It's like a car right behind you and it's got the headlights on.
Dad,
he was
deep into his monologue. He was in the zone. He was focused.
And he got that foot deep in his ass too.
I mean, that's all I can say. So anyway, he gets shot in the head and Bruce is excited because he's like, yeah, you're in trouble now. I feel like that's what he says in every movie when like Thor dropped down
that's what he said.
The Hulk smasher and
they had a lot of callbacks. They had a lot of callbacks.
And so then they come out and they start fucking them up and he's like, yeah. And then he was like, wait.
That's too much ass whooping. Whoa,
he said something about it's overkill. Like, and then I think he realized when the dust literally settled that they were zombies and that they had eaten them.
Well, Tony turns around.
Right.
Because Tony turns around and he goes, oh, whoa.
And then he tries to run and then Wong does the little thing and comes at him, and luckily the cape comes in out of nowhere. Doctor Strange's cape comes in, so this is another episode where Strange's cape has his own few moments and saves Bruce until Ebony Maw and friends rise up, now zombies, and use their powers. And so anyway, we think this is Bruce's end of the line, and then the wasps and the ants and the whatevers all come and basically eat everybody, literally. Turns out, from what we can tell, they do not convert into zombies. And we'll get more into potentially why later on. So Wasp comes in, Spider-Man comes in, and the cape, helps them. So they escape and they're moving on.
Well, don't forget Peter's line. Oh, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And then Bruce goes, well, what happened to the neighborhood?
Right.
Like,
and then
it's fucked up.
Yeah. And then they get into it with the zombie video, the orientation video that Peter
created. that was fucking funny there. Yeah.
Which I appreciate it because it definitely looks like something a high schooler created, which is exactly what Peter is. So
exactly what it was.
They don't take him too much out of his element age-wise, which is nice. Because sometimes I feel like everyone tries to kind of make Peter grow up a little faster than he needs to. And I'm like, yeah, no, this was still evident that no matter what apocalyptic moment is happening, he's still a teenager and still acts like a teenage boy. So that was funny. And then I think you brought up that there was a little, whether it truly was that or not, the Joss Whedon are.
It was that was that was like a nod to Joss Whedon, because that comes from Buffy, you know, grr, arg, the thing going by, and that was really it. So they showed Joss a little love, even though after the Age of Ultron, they showed Joss the door.
Right.
But this was
a very loving door, maybe.
This was also another episode where at the heart of it, the Ant-Man Wasp franchise were either on the cause of it or the villains in the show. And in this instance, they were the unwittingly unfortunate cause of it,
right?
Trying to find Janet. What I appreciate is it seemed how easily they were able to locate Janet. And I think they said a beacon came on or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I should warn the Avengers, you know, and I'm sorry for you all who don't know this. This is a spoiler. Another spoiler for a movie that hopefully this ain't the beacon in Shang-Chi.
Right.
Hopefully this ain't it. If it is, hang up on that
Don't
call.
answer.
Don't click over. Don't.
Stop paying the bill. Let the phone bill
call,
run over.
No, that's one call. Let's go keep waiting. But yeah, apparently, and Janet even says it, that she believes it's her fault because I'm the one who pressed to find my mother and go after her, and they did. And of course, whatever this was in the quantum realm, she was infected with it.
Right. And just a quick clarification. Hope was the one who was saying she was blaming herself because she went to go get her mom, Janet.
Yes, I'm sorry, Hope. Yes.
But that ties back to another episode because this episode was not necessarily surrounded around, but the root cause in some respect had to do with Hope Van Dyne, just like in the similar episode before, where it was what if we lost Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where the root cause of what happened in that episode, where ironically, again, all the Avengers died because of Hope. And here again, all the Avengers died because of Hope.
There's just no hope.
Zero. So the orientation video is funny for a number of reasons. Happy's shirt was the funniest part of that.
Oh man, that's a shirt that, were he alive, Coulson would have proudly worn.
Mm-hmm. I'm not single. I'm saving myself for Thor.
Speaking of hair, what is up with this MCU hair on these men?
I don't know. It's
Thor's hair. And in this episode, we had the good old, I know you women, you know, throw your panties on the stage, Teddy Pendergrass. The Winter Soldier's hair was beautiful. It was. Am I wrong?
No, it was.
It was beautiful.
And it was helpful that it was a shower scene.
And they gave up they gave up a little porn, a little PG-13 porn, where we have the Winter Soldier and he's all butt-ass naked, but there's just enough steam and froth at the bottom where you can only see the abs. Right. And that's enough.
And the V shape.
Yes, that's enough for 50 Shades of, you know, get it here.
Right.
You know.
We got at least 10 shades. So
yeah, you know, with no window shades.
Right.
So yeah, I was like, you know, and even in the shower, his hair was beautiful.
It was.
It was beautiful, even in the shower. I go, son of a bitch. And then, of course, the first thing I had to think of after seeing that was this son of a bitch walking across that bridge in Madripoor with that hard pimp ass broils from what was the name of that damn show? Fringe.
Broils.
It was him. He was hard, but he had the hard walking across there. I was like, That's all I could think about when I saw him in that shower.
Well, they had to give him something because on the show they took away his hair, so they had to replace it with something else. And
this is true. They gave that Winter Soldier hair, and I have to tell the truth. The Winter Soldier hair looks best.
Yeah,
it looks best. The short hair, and I but the short hair, no, the Winter Soldier hair, that's the shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
the hair he had in the very deceitful Infinity War trailer.
Yes, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know what the hell happened when they were showing the different places, were showing the clips, the previews of this week's
promo
episode.
Stuff.
Correct. One camp of promos showed the Avengers, where it would have been the new Guardians of the Multiverse. You know, Party Thor, and coming out that Hyundai, with a hammer and all that shit and all that fight.
And Thor and Gamora was in that in the
and then the other half showed the zombie apocalypse. I remember telling you, I said, something's wrong. They can't both. I said they can't fit all that in one episode. I said they can't. And fuck us. What happened? We got fucking Russo brothered.
We did.
From Infinity War. They fooled us with that shit where we were waiting to see everybody run it. They fucked us royally.
And
so
just to clarify, for those of you who saw our Shang-Chi video, we said that we were going to do some light potential cosplay for our two characters being in that episode. And then we watched it and they weren't. And we were very upset.
Yeah.
I was frustrated. So
I had wig ready and everything. I was gonna put my hat, my helmet on, and wig and all that. Man, son of a bitch.
Right.
But anyway, sorry that was just stuck in the old craw.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand how you feel because, like I said, I still feel some kind of way about that trailer. So, anyway, so they finished showing the orientation video, and we realized that the HQ is basically in the sky, being held up by like 1,000 of Peter's spider webs.
And it's a subway cars and shit.
Right, to keep them away from the zombies as much as possible.
Yes.
So they finally realized like what they needed to do, and they kind of narrowed it down, and it turns out they have to go to fucking Jersey.
Well,
and nobody's happy about that, including Happy. So they're on their way to driving to Grand Central Station, and he's still mad that he has to drive to Jersey, and Okoye is like, I don't understand the problem. Like, I thought you were an Uber driver. And he says chauffeur. There's a difference. And we were like, is there?
Yeah.
You just get paid more than Uber drivers, but you're just a well-paid Uber driver, sir, for one person.
Well, I want to tip back for just one quick second.
Mm-hmm.
When they were going through all the explaining of everything, when they were indoctrinating Bruce, as it were, they were talking about, here come Earth Mightiest Heroes getting out the Quinjet, like they're coming out to save the world from the zombies, and they get fucked up right away.
Yeah, no, right away. And Ant-Man started it with Cap.
Yes. So, yes, he starts it with that, with Cap, bites Cap on the neck. As I mentioned to you, what I'm not sure of, I always thought Iron Man's suit was hermetically sealed.
But now that you've said that, and we were talking about Ant-Man, my first thought is Ant-Man somehow got in and must have got him after he, bit Cap.
Okay, I'll agree with that, but it wasn't made obvious, because my first thought was, well, how did they get into Tony's suit? That's what I didn't understand. He came out with his helmet on, right? So I was like, how did they get into this suit? But brother man from Wakanda, his shit was tight.
No, it was.
Nobody got in that.
Absolutely not.
Because we make good shit.
Listen, everybody has a Wakanda except for, I apologize in advance for anyone who might be upset about this, white people. In Shang-Chi, they had their own version of Wakanda.
They did.
We had Wakanda. Anyway, I'm sure they didn't get Ta Lo that we know of, them bamboo trees would have fucked you up.
Okay, little Richard, let's not start getting off on that. Okay. But go ahead, kid. I just wanted to bring that part up about when the Avengers came out to Quinjet and then they got their ass kicked.
Yeah,
real
no, literally
fast,
right away.
with the quickness.
Yeah. So anyway, they make it to Grand Central Station. They kind of split up to figure out how to get the trains working. And so Happy and Sharon are together in some under part of the Grand Central Station, and the zombies show up, and Happy has a very fun catchphrase where he basically shoots with Iron Man's hand, and he just says blam, 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 blam every time he fires, as if he's in a live action comic book. Just he can't
making his own sound effects.
Right. As if it doesn't make sounds.
Blast.
Right. It clearly it doesn't make enough noise for him. So he screams blam, blam, blam. Sharon calls him out on it. And that's just as he's explaining himself, which I'm sure was going to be a riveting story. He gets shot here with the arrow and yanked back, and then blam, 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 blam.
Blam.
And then that's it. And then Sharon gets shot by Hawkeye, the zombie. And so now we're all thinking, okay, that's it. It's happening. Unfortunately, Happy converts very quickly to a zombie and is ready to shoot Sharon.
Also, the thing about these zombies is, or all the zombies, is they all retain the ability and knowledge of who they were.
Mm-hmm.
So Hawkeye, everybody who was a zombie, Cap, Tony, they knew what they were. They knew how to use the armor. They knew how to use the arrows. So they retain all their knowledge, and they can still move like at normal speeds that they would have. They weren't like, the GR, they were fucking you up. And they knew how to use everything that they had. Right. So you had to battle.
I think they were still slow. I don't think Cap wasn't moving the way he was before. But he wasn't, charging like he was in Endgame. I don't know that he would have been able to do that, but he could still throw that shield. But
he had a good run on the train when he was running towards the Winter Soldier. So, but I'm saying they still knew how to do everything that they knew how to do before, which made them even more dangerous. Not like they were just, in sheer numbers. You had to actually still fight against the person, as it were, because they knew all their powers and everything. So that changes the nature of the way that they functioned.
Yeah. So they become zombies. Sharon gets out for the most part. But then we see Falcon, and Falcon comes for the Winter Soldier. And you can see that Winter Soldier bond with Falcon was still there, because even though he was shooting at him, when he came at him, he was shocked for a little bit. And thank you, Okoye, for saving him. And at the end, she said, "That was your friend. I'm sorry." And he said, "I should be sad, but I'm not."
And Peter, don't forget, Peter had the great lines. Everything went back to movies for him.
Mm-hmm.
When they say, "Hey, you all go up here, we go over here," and Peter said, "No, don't you guys ever?"
Doesn't anybody watch horror movies?
Don't you guys have horror movies in Wakanda?
No, we have American reality TV.
There you go. I mean, and he goes, "No, you never split up. That's when everything goes to hell." And then the as Marvel always pays it off later, she says, "You're right. We shouldn't have split up. I'm sorry."
So they do get the train moving finally, and the Cape has to save Peter because he's inches away from the zombie grabbing him in the actual subway station tunnel. Yes. But they save it, and then the train starts. And basically, this train scene runs the zombies over very much similarly to how Invincible's train season, for those of you who have seen that show, happened. And if you haven't, we are not going to traumatize anybody. Just go fucking watch it.
Oh man, you gotta.
We're not gonna repeat what happens. So watch the show.
See that
and just traumatize yourself. Yeah, no, just do it yourself. So anyway, they leave, and somehow, even though they've gotten out, there are a couple couple zombies who make it on the train.
People. Zombies are people too.
I mean, maybe. And so Bucky and Cap, unfortunately, get into a fight, and that's his old friend. because he realizes that Sharon's in jeopardy, but he's too late to save Sharon. And in the middle of trying to fight Cap, he actually grabs Sharon's face and throws her back.
Well, they still didn't learn anything, because Sharon, who has no powers, is at the last car of the train by herself doing guard duty. She has no power.
She should have stayed.
So she's the first one. She's the first one to go on the train. Again, they didn't learn about being separated, and then they left Sharon again. That was like beaming down on Star Trek, and we've never seen you before. You got a different color shirt than everybody else.
Right.
You're not beaming back up.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that's again, that was terrible. They didn't learn anything from Peter.
Right. So Bucky fights Cap, basically slices him in half with the shield, collects the shield, and then he goes to take Sharon down, and Hope arrives. And I guess because of her running in, she realized, and then she shrunk herself, and basically Sharon kind of ate her. And when she went back to her normal size, she killed Sharon, but the problem was she was injured. And so now
I got Sharon all over me.
Right. And so she's infected. And so Hope agrees, once they reach the end of the train line, they didn't quite make it in, and they have to get through a giant crowd of zombies. And so Hope says, I was the start of this. This is my fault. Let me do this. And she very much had a Thor moment in Endgame, where Thor wanted to put the gauntlet on and do the snap, because he said, please just let me do something right. Like, let me fix this. This is my fault. And so I feel like Hope very much had a Thor moment.
She went for the head.
And so she picks everybody up, goes into giant size, and basically walks through, and she kicks a few people, a few zombies.
It's like zombies flying all over the place. Like the little rascals.
Right. And she climbs through it all and makes it just in time to drop all of them over the other side. And, they've already climbed up her legs and up her sides, and she makes it to drop them off. And then basically they get her. They already got her. She was already basically infected, but at that point they really got her, and she fell over. Now, I know one of the things that you said was, how come she didn't shrink herself? Because now she's going to be a zombie in giant size. But I think
it was just too late. She was probably overcome,
right,
with the virus racing through,
right,
and because there was more of her, there was more of it,
right,
so
she succumbed to the virus, and so they find, they figure out that this is potentially the cure, and they find Vision, and everybody's excited. I know I was excited. I was like, oh my God, Vision. And they were
because they were responding to a beacon.
Right. And they were surprised that Vision hadn't been changed. And he was like, right, you dumb bitches, I'm a robot, not on the menu. And even if he was, he's not going to be changed into a biological virus is not going to fuck with him in that sense. So anywho, so he, walks them in. Vision informs them of what he can do with the Mind Stone, and that's when we get to see that Scott came back, and that Scott was able to be reversed. However, he was just ahead.
I'm going to tell you something. Here's my take on that. I don't think that was solely the case.
I think he let Wanda eat all of Paul Rudd and just save his head.
He did that exactly. I think that's exactly what I think. Because once we see,
T'Challa.
Once we see his situation, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kept the head there as bait, and he made sure his head was okay, right? And put it in the container. But I think he fed him, and I think Scott was not aware of that.
No, I think he sedated Scott in that little medical room, just like he had T'Challa on that table.
That's correct.
And then just kept him there, and Scott was like, this is all I was able to save, and I reversed the virus in your head. And it was basically tying it to a form of encephalopathy that comes from a virus. And just for everybody's knowledge, encephalopathy is usually a response that the brain has to a virus or an infection in which the brain starts to swell. And so usually in order for the brain to deswell, it has to treat the virus or the infection, and then it'll lessen it. So like meningitis is a big part of that.
Why did I think that was that big elephant looking woolly mammoth that hung out with Big Bird, Snuffleupagus?
No, I don't know.
Now, what'd you call it? What was it called?
Encephalopathy.
Yeah, Snuffleupagus. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, so Bucky realizes that, oh, they have the cure. So he says, I'm going to go do a perimeter check. And Vision says something very ominous that it seems like no one else really caught on to but the rest of the audience, where it was like, you won't find what you're looking for. And he said it in such a way where it was just kind of like, I feel like you said that as a warning, but then you also didn't stop him. Like you could have just flew over there and been like, you can't go back there. And you just let him go. Like you wanted him to be caught by Wanda and maybe eaten.
And nobody's like, what the hell?
Right. Bucky then goes and investigates and he sees all these piles and piles of clothes. And that's when it flashes back over and they said, other people have responded to this beacon. And then it flashes back to Bucky and we find T'Challa on the table. I think he also sees Wanda and he shoots there, but realizes that it's bulletproof. Goes and gets T'Challa, they run, but then Wanda breaks through the glass because now she is awake.
Well, I also think that he had Wanda in something that contained her. I suspect that Wanda stayed there because he was feeding her regularly. And
the Mind Stone potentially maybe did have some. And like you said, they remembered who everything was. So maybe she also remembered that this is her husband or someone she cares about and was maybe more willing to listen.
Well, even when Vision gets, fucked up,
when he rips the stone
she goes to his body that's destroyed because she didn't, like I said, she still has all the memories.
Right. So she remembers that this is her man and he did.
Yeah. So, I think what happened was when he shot at the glass and it fractured, then now whatever that was made of could no longer contain her.
Right.
Because she didn't try to get out until the cracks from the bullets showed up and that allowed her to break it. So I think he had constructed something that was just strong enough to keep her contained.
Right.
But old Buck with the gat. So it's a good thing he didn't go over there with the old Winter Soldier arm there. So,
right. So they all discover what's going on, and Vision explains himself, and everybody chastises him for sacrificing all those people's and all those innocent people's lives for Wanda. And that's when Paul starts making more jokes about love, and he's like, love, man, it sucks.
Yeah, we could spend a lot of time on that because and I think Paul gets the better of the puns than Peter has his moments. But Ant-Man gets the best of the puns. I mean, it's not risk.
Take the goddamn phone.
It's not risk. Right. It's hope. I mean, he was just laying them out there. It was just great.
Yeah.
So
and so they all escape with Vision's help. Like they ask Vision for help, and I think Vision realizes like that he fucked up. So he helps them escape. He tells them where to go. And then because he feels like he has to atone for his actions, he pulls the stone out of his head to let them take that. Because he can't bring himself to leave Wanda. He didn't want to go with them. He needed to be here with her.
Now,
I think he also sinks the like where they were, the area. He like sinks.
Is that another fixed point?
Oh, where he dies again?
He dies not just because he dies like that, but the way they said for last episode, Doctor Strange's woman, she had to die. She always had to die. This the second time we see Vision die where the stone is pulled from his head. Right. Is that how he's always destined to die in the multiverse now? That
potentially, because that's the only way that they'll ever be able to
if it happens one more
Vision.
time, if it happens one more time, then that's a thing.
Right.
So
even though he sinks the facility, Wanda still gets out and flies over to go fuck some people up because she thinks that they killed her man. So she goes over. Now the proverbial shield is down. The drawbridge is down. So the zombies who were originally staying at bay because of the Mind Stone are now able to, move in on them. Ant-Man continues the jokes. They're very funny. The ones that I got was he said, "Be careful, she's a man-eater." Oh, I did it again.
Yeah.
And then as the cape catches him and flies him into the thing, he literally says Wingardium Leviosa. And only Harry Potter fans would understand what that reference was. And I thought it was hilarious. And I am a Potterhead. For those of you who have maybe seen other episodes, there is a tattoo on my chest of the Deathly Hallows. Like that's
not
Harry Potter.
Not a pot head, a
right.
Potter
head. Yeah. And then he makes the joke about like them high-fiving when they do actually escape on the Quinjet, and he says, "Don't worry, I won't be offended." So I mean, he had a lot of good one-liners there. And Okoye unfortunately does not make it out. So T'Challa makes it out, and he tries to say, and she says, "Wakanda forever, my king." And then you just see her go down with Wanda, and we just assume she don't.
Well, that was before they had gotten away.
Yeah, no, I was just naming the jokes that Scott was saying in general.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that they had to get to the Quinjet because Vision told them that there's a Quinjet in the landing bay, right? So that's when they were going out to get to it, and that's when they all got out except for Okoye.
Right.
And I can appreciate that, she gave the Wakanda forever. Mm-hmm. And think about how terribly the horrific thoughts of having to look at T'Challa's character laying on that gurney, that at some point, not in the distant future of them making that, he would be, that we know he died for real. And to see him there on that thing, that was, that got you here, because you know what ultimately happens to him as a person, and to see him there. Of course, when they make this, nobody knew anything, right?
Right.
But it's just that we now get to look at this and go, well, God damn, look at that. But the other good thing was, as we get to your thing, before they get out, Bruce is saying, "I'm gonna go and." The Hulk, he likes to make that entrance. He's going to come out now. They go, "Oh, you can't." He doesn't come out. Don't worry. And so the Hulk, he runs into the crowd of the zombies once they come in, because they got to get to the plane and get out. And sure enough, the Hulk comes out, knocks off the pile, start fucking them up.
Right.
And then I think what we should have gotten at least another 2 minutes of was the battle between the Hulk
and the
Scarlet Witch. Man, that was good. That right. was good.
I also wish that we learned, and maybe we'll learn about this later, but we also are aware that we don't actually know what happened to Bucky after he challenged the Scarlet Witch beforehand to let them make it to the Quinjet. We just know that she caught him with her telepathy and then threw him however far away. We don't know. We know that he can take the landing because we watched it in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
But I don't think he was killed, because remember, like you said, he's a super
we don't know if he became, but I mean, so is Cap. We don't know if zombies got to him.
But wait, I mean, I'm saying he survived the fall.
No, absolutely. I'm saying I don't know if he became
soldier, the vibranium arm, and the shield.
Right. No, I'm just saying I would love to have known what happened to him, and if he made it out alive, or just alive.
Well, at least this time when he fell and hit the ground, Falcon didn't have a little camera recording it like he did in the show. So
on Instagram Live.
Yes.
So they get away after Hope, the giant zombie, grabs the ship, but they put the thrusters into gear and they punch it, and they get away, and then Hope picks up a random zombie and just throws it at them.
The Wasp.
Hope, right? She picks up.
I thought you said the Hulk.
No. Hope picks up some random zombie and throws it, and then he just hits the ship and falls down.
And I told you at that point what I thought was, I said, now, because then next thing you know, they go through the shield and Wakanda. I said, now you watch. There was more than one zombie that she threw. We just only saw the one that was close.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you watch, there's going to be a damn zombie hanging on the ship, flying in, and they just don't realize it. But fortunately, that was not the case.
Right. However, Scott did have a moment where he realized that the love of his life was gone. And that he's hopeful that maybe with whatever this cure is with the Mind Stone, that he can have her back one day. So they are flying to Wakanda. You know, they have the last few, you know, dad jokes that Ant-Man throws out there. And the very ending scene of this is they're in Wakanda and Thanos is there. Thanos is a zombie and it looks like probably all of his people are. And then he shows his hand go up like this with the gauntlet. And then that's it. Scene. And that was terrifying in itself because I'm like, great, now he's a zombie and he still has the gauntlet.
That reminded me of another bit of a scene early on when Happy, you know, has the glove on, the repulsor glove.
Blam, blam.
Comes out of the watch. Well,
Mm-hmm.
No, and he cocks his arm like it's a shotgun, like it was a pump action shotgun. He was ready, you know. And unfortunately, to put him down, Sharon turns it to him and he shoots her. He shoots to go shoot at her. She turns him and he shoots himself in the face. And then she goes blam.
And takes the glove for herself. So
yes.
That she has
and it looked good. The glove looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that when she went after the Winter Soldier on the train, even though he just like fucked her up with the vibranium arm,
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't she use the glove? Because she knew she had it. Remember, they got all their knowledge.
Right.
I would have expected that she knew that's the Winter Soldier. I'm not just going to run up and fight him. She didn't blast him. I was surprised at that.
I don't know.
But it was...
We lost a lot of Avengers during this.
Well, we will have lost everyone because that was the last... Remember, that was the last stone that Thanos needed, because when you see the glove, everything is on there except that Mind Stone.
Right.
And so that there won't be any stopping him. So and interestingly enough, this, as I look back to my memory of reading some of the What If episodes many, many years ago in comic books, this one and the Doctor Strange one ended well, and kind of also like What If Earth's Mightiest Heroes were all, killed off. Those were the ways that the comic books ended. They were open-ended. Mm-hmm. They just ended abruptly. Like you were waiting and you go, oh man, and then you realize you're at the last page, and that's how it ended. They rarely ended in anything good. The majority of What If comic books always ended badly because it was what if.
Right.
It's like, what if your character, got a spear through the head? Well, guess what? And that's just how it was.
You're dead as fuck. Okay.
So this is, I know that more people probably want a happy ending, as it were. Go to massage parlor.
That's not how the series.
That's
goes.
not how the series of books. They didn't usually end, because it was the whole thing of usually the heroes overcome the adversity and they do this, and What If was about, well, what if they couldn't overcome the adversity? What happens? Right. And I think that my as I remember that the zombie What If in the comic books, the zombies do go on and infect the entire universe, and because they retain their knowledge, they go into the multiverse and start doing that, and that's just how it ends, just like that. So and like there's just no stopping them. So I agree with everything that you have said, and that was the episode. You touched on all the points. It was like I said, it was I enjoyed it. It was another episode that Strange's cloak had a part in it, and it had a big part in it. Mm-hmm. It had a really big part in it. Oh, and when the capes around Scott's,
Right.
and what's Okoye say? Don't cry. You'll steam up the dome,
Right.
the
You
glass.
steam
the
up your
dome.
jar.
Yeah. Oh man, come on. They were killing it. Everybody had jokes. They were killing it with those jokes.
I mean, you got to be able to laugh if that's the time you live in.
Yeah, it really was. But yeah, it was just another episode where everybody got fucked up, and
yeah. So you want to give it
you could see exactly where it was heading when you saw Thanos there. And,
oh yeah.
You knew what that meant, and I appreciated that. That's how it ended, because that told us exactly. We already know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
Not well.
Right.
So.
You want to give it a rating, Pop?
Yeah, I am going to give this one another 2 thumbs up from Comic and Other Cons. And I'm going to lower 1 thumb just a little bit, because again, it was just kind of tragic. Not that it was bad, but it was just it's like, man, and not just for that. The right. real reason I'm lowering it is because they got that goddamn 2 different things out, promos, and we got Russo brother. We got Russo brother.
We don't like it.
They really got us with that.
They did.
So that was some Infinity War trailer shit that they got us with on this one. So now I don't know whether to trust anything. If I see promos for 2 totally different things, I just can't believe any of them. I'm just gonna have to wait until next Wednesday and watch the damn thing.
Yes,
because like we said, we were so ready to put on parts of our cosplay outfits, because we thought, Thor and Gamora were going to show up, and we say, hey, let's represent what we do, some of what we do, because it's very complicated. If anybody who cosplays and does it with detail, you understand that some of these things take hours to do. Like, for you to get ready, it takes about 2 hours and some change. Because you got to do the paint. And if you're doing the more skin you have exposed, the more paint you have to do. So it can take up to 3 hours just for you.
Yeah.
And it takes me about 45 minutes to get into that whole full Thor outfit, because I need help with it. But it's just, so what we were going to do is just do some basic little parts, just little pieces of the outfit and stuff like that. And what a disappointment when I was watching that, and I go, what the hell?
Yeah.
It was a great episode.
No,
and I was like, because I kept thinking, well, when's Party Thor? Where's Gamora at? Where's everybody at? What the shit? And then it went off. I was like, man, we got hosed, Davey. We got hosed. So they got us. So
yes.
They
got us. Yes, Thanos, you will have to wait.
Yes.
Until next.
Yes. And it wasn't with mercy either.
No. It was efficient.
And guess what? He still got his genocide, right?
He did. No, he did.
Still get his genocide. So so we are patiently and anxiously awaiting for Wednesday to show up. And we can't wait for our next episode. And we hope to have all of you here. And please do tell your friends, bring your friends, pass it along.
Right. Put your thoughts and comments,
please,
on this video. We love engaging with you guys. So please, share your comments, like and subscribe, of course, but definitely comment on the video with your thoughts or your feelings or your hopes, or
and we will do everything we can to reply to as many of the comments as possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Which means we're going to try to reply to all of them. Right. So please do. Yeah. Just so we know what I've got on this week, I am wearing an Invicta stylish pro diver, 1,650 feet water resistant, screw down crown, diver class, beautiful quartz. So that's my Invicta piece for this episode, and I'll have a watch on. Well, I always have a watch on. I'll have a different watch on for every episode.
Yes,
So,
and as a special treat, because I don't own anywhere near as many watches as he does, I will have on a watch next week for the episode in honor of this weekend being the start off to football season. So I will have one of my Green Bay Packers watches in next episode, and I'll show that and talk about that one as well.
Oh, I will wear one of my New York Giants football. All hail the New York Giants.
Go Pack, go.
Yeah. So
discount double check.
We can't wait to get back and see you all again. We thank you graciously for everyone who has subscribed and liked the video. Thank you. That means the world to us.
It does.
You know, we do this because this is us having fun, and we just wanted to let you all in and see how we are. If we were together, it would be worse.
No, that's true.
There
will be a few episodes where we are in the same.
Where we are together.
So that
yes.
will
probably expect those to be wild, drug-induced, mushroom, liquored up episodes.
Yes.
Without all that stuff, it just seems that way. Yeah, it just seems that way.
Right.
But so again, thank you all for joining us.
Yes. We can't wait to see you next week when we do our next What If episode. If there are things that you would like us to, watch and talk about, put those in the comments so we can add that to the list of things that we, look at, watch, review, and then make a video on.
Okay. You want to take us out?
Yeah. All right. That's my dad.
And that's my kid. And we are
Comic and Other Cons. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Peace, bitches.